feel like an intro, but this season 2 could have been done in one, but felt I needed two. The perfection of our conception projected through reflection that's connected is a blessing, and I needed two. Plus I need a few moments just to speak to you about these individuals whose mission to deceiving you, saying the achievable is just so unachievable, but that's only conceivable if you say and believe it's true. Protect the presence of essence with the aggression of a guard dog. Did you forget you was a god, y'all? Maybe you need someone believing you. Well, damn it, I believe in you. Not cause I'm expecting perception, I can see me in you. There's power in the questions and lessons is what I teach to you. Injecting my perspective suggested, no, I don't preach to you. Rejecting that you less than forever, know that you equal to. But this really for my people though, cause evil grows inside of the kind of minds that are ego drove. So engulfed inside of they ride, they cannot see the road. They criticize your drive, apply, they won't even go. Cause fear and faith is the only thing in comparison. One requires courage, the other desires evidence. How can what was ever determine what never been? Then again, the devil is ignorance mixed with arrogance. But we are the conscious collective. And CC, so I hope you get the message. But we are the conscious collective. Or CC, so I hope you get the message. Well, thank you. You are too kind. You are what they call too kind. This is my attempt at trying to do some sort of comedy or something, I guess. Take a story, take my episodes and try to make it into something where I can make it funny and still get my point across. So, I can prove to you you're a God. And by the end of this soliloquy, monologue, story, or stand-up, I'm going to make sure you walk away knowing that you are God and there's no question other than you trying to figure out something else other than you being a God. So anyway, so at the end of this story, you'll get you a God. I'm 5 years old. I'm in a crack house. Now, wait, before you start judging, why am I 5? Why am I in the crack house? I get what you're saying. But look, everybody has a life to live. Every journey is yours to itself. If you can control everything outside of yourself and make your life perfect, your life won't be what it is now. What makes life is this journey, and what makes you live in it is you taking it. So I'm 5 years old and I'm in a crack house. So I didn't know it was a crack house at the time. When I was in a crack house, when you go to a crack house and you're a kid, you go in and you just know there's going to be other kids there. You don't look at the concept that everybody parent in here is doing hella drugs. Everybody, and we know the smell, like, to this day, I can still describe to you the smell of burning crack. Might sound a little sad, but it's like I wouldn't be able to talk to you if I did. So, I'm 5 years old. We're in crack house. All the other crack people ran out of crack. That's what happened. So, when you get kids and you don't have enough money to really feed them and supply your habit, you'll leave. Like, oh, that's enough for me. I only got $18 worth of crack. My kids got to eat. They need shoes and shit like that. There was another caliber of crackhead. All crackheads aren't the same. This caliber of crackhead didn't give up. Everything that they had was going into that motherfucker pipe. Everything. The addiction was so strong on them. And like I tell people, I don't think addiction is what everybody make it out to. It's not this thing that can control you. Addiction is, it's more something like life. It's consequential to something you're going to have to deal with, which is fear. So fear is something we all have. Everybody here, I don't care, you could be the toughest tough person that's ever been tough. I guarantee you're scared of something. There's something that you fear, and fear comes nothing but from lessons. So if somebody tell you, you know the mantra, if you reach your hand in fire, you pull it out once you know you get burnt. Or if you're a kid and you touch a stove and you know that stove is hot. And when you didn't listen to somebody, what happened? You learn that same lesson through pain. So addiction ain't some shit that you can just blame. No, addiction means you scared of some shit and this helps you run away. It's just your vehicle. So sometimes people go through shit that's so fucking tough that crack is the only thing that can help them get away from that pain. And when they feeling good, I grew up with so many crackheads, I understood this concept, but you feel so good when you're away from the pain, you feel like you're floating. It's like, man, why would you want to stop me from finally feeling good? Because every time I'm not high, I'm its reflection. Every time I can't get high, it reminds me where I am at its reflection. So when I finally get an escape, and I would do any and everything I can to get to that escape, you dare judge me but never would help me? So I'm 5 years old and I'm in a crack house. That's what happened. People go through shit. So I'm in the crack house, and all the parents that care, they like, I ain't gonna say care, but would look at their kids and say, you should probably eat today. Those parents left. But the ones that was really running, they stayed there till they ain't had nothing. They would go steal other things once they was out of money to supply money or proposition a child selling narcotics. Because you got to remember, all these are children. The motherfuckers out there selling drugs that you calling a thug is a child crying out for help, and that's his way of experiencing it. But that's neither here nor there. So they would go get shit, and they need as much as they can. I just happened to be a kid that was dealing with that type of situation. So I'm in there, and it's only 2 of us left. The kid that is of the person that's hosting the crack party, and me. That's it. So my situation is still there, so I'm still there. It's probably like 10 o'clock at the nighttime. It's dark outside. And I know I got school tomorrow. I know it's not a weekend. This wasn't a weekend trip. This was you take this trip whenever the fuck you can take it. So I get there, and I realize, like, I go to the bathroom, and I say, it is dark outside. I know what's going on because I know the smell. I'm 5 years old, but I'm not stupid. So I go back in there. It's a little girl in there. We're both in there. You know, just unsupervised. If that's how I could describe it, I would say unsupervised. And she had this toy in there. First off, this was a good crack house. You gotta remember, I've been to a lot of crack houses. This crack house, the lady that stayed there, because it's just her place and they just do crack there and they come as a team. It ain't like they built the crack house. Don't be stupid. Anyway, so at this crack house, she had a front room, a dining room, like multiple rooms, probably like 2-3 bedrooms, a kitchen area, and the rooms were big. Like, that's the thing. Like, her kid room, it was only one. It was just one kid. That motherfucker had a big ass room, TV, dresser, and they had this little horse thing with, like, you know, I grew up in the early 90s. We had dumb toys. We had a toy where it was just like a wooden horse with 2 handles on the side of it. So you know, you get on, but the thing is suspended by 8 springs. So it's just the spring and 2 springs on each side in the front, 2 springs on each side in the back, and you sit on there and you just do this shit. This is all you do. I swear to God. But like, or you can do this shit. Like, if you really get a good, but it's real springs. These aren't special springs. You know the springs that'll fuck you up? Those are the springs that are on it, and it's coiled very tightly. So they're very strong springs, basically. So like, if you was fat, you could still get on there. So we was on there playing on that. And it's just getting later and later, and they clearly not running out of crack. I don't know who supplied it that day, but they was having a good time. Like, for a little while, you wouldn't hear anything, you wouldn't smell anything burning, so you knew, like, oh, we about to go. Like, I knew what time it was, or if we were about to go, based on the smell of the crack. I know the very specific smell of crack. So when it's burning, I know that smell. When it's out and it's just the old smell of it, I know the change. So I know it's almost time to go. So I remember it stopped at one point. I'm like, oh, it's about to be time to go. You can smell the burn again. I said, how much pick up where I left off? What were we doing? Oh yeah, so it's getting so late that we're sleepy now. Like, it's time to go sleep. I got school tomorrow. Now, side note, let me tell you something about what I did. And remember I told you guys I see patterns. I've been seeing patterns since I was a little kid. I don't know how to describe how I see everything. So I'm 5 years old and I'm not in school yet. So the reason I'm not in school is because my mama wanted to keep me out longer so she could play with her babe. She used to call me Mommy Nub. Mommy Nub. Hey, don't come at my name. What's your mama call you, goddammit? So I'm Mommy Nub. Fuck you, nigga. Don't think it's a game, because I'll fight for mine. Mommy Nub will fight for his. But anyway, so I'm not in school because my mama wanted me to stay an extra year before she let her baby go to school. She didn't want to get rid of Mommy Nub. But I'm 5 years old and I'm in a crack house. Anyway, so the reason I'm not in school is because I'm actually smart. This shit is crazy. So I was supposed to start a year behind. I was going to be 5 years old and then go to, what was it called? Preschool. So you're supposed to start preschool at 4. You start kindergarten at 5 when I came up. So I'm 5 years old and I'm supposed to be in, preschool. But I'm actually in kindergarten. So what happened was, the reason I'm not in the preschool I should be in, the reason I'm in kindergarten, even though I started a year late because my mom wanted to keep me home, was first day of preschool, they tell me, what book do you like? And I say, Green Eggs and Ham. Backstory. The reason I like Green Eggs and Ham, because my mama used to read that shit to me. She'd be like, I would not eat them on a boat. And she's had, my mom from the hood, so she'd do that shit, how black women do. I would not eat them on a boat. Eat them in the head. Hit them in the head, and I beat them in his leg. That's how it is. So my mom used to put a swing in every time she read it. I remembered every single word she said and the way she said it, the vibrations of how she said it. So on my first day of preschool, when they said, which book do we read to the class, because that's what you do in preschool. You sit on a little carpet with some little squares and buttons. You don't really do shit. You just, this daycare, basically. So I said, oh, I'll read it. They're going, you're 5 years old and it's your first day of school ever. How the fuck is you finna read a book? What do you think? The teacher like, nigga, I got a job to do. Did you just tell me I'm fired? But I'm like, no, let me read it. So they said, okay. She thought she was gonna embarrass me. That's what it was. I can tell I'm only 5, but I'm very advanced because I'm 5 years old and I've been in the crack house. Anyway, so I get up there and she pulled up a little chair. She said, hey class, she make everybody sit down because it's story time. This is the first time I ever heard the concept of story time, where you have people listen to you in a bunch. So she brings all the kids together. She said, it's story time with Q. I say, okay, so I sit down and she just looking. She's sitting, like the way I'm sitting, because I'm a little kid, you got the little kiddie chairs. So she didn't even let me sit in the story time chair. She gonna let me sit in the little kiddie chair. She was trying to be funny. She was trying to embarrass me, but she didn't know a star was about to be born. So she sits me in the little kiddie chair, and I get the Green Eggs and Hams, and she's standing right next to the kiddie chair, like as soon as you fuck up, you go sit down and let me read. Here, you think this is little boys coming here first day of school, somebody can read. Teachers are petty. But anyway, so she just standing there. I look up at the bitch and say, oh, okay, you gonna learn today? I forgot her name. But, so it's story time with Q. So instead of just reading like she would, what I would do is, I would say, hey guys, my name is Quentin. Y'all can call me Q. Everybody calls me Q. But I'm going to read the story to you guys. I hope I do a good job. So I sit down. Teacher's like, okay, read. Okay, try to do your reading, your alleged reading. Go ahead, read to the class. And I read the book from cover to cover without any mistakes. I said every word in every place and never got anything wrong. I read the book from beginning to end, and I didn't understand or were able to read a single word. Just because the way I see patterns, my mama used to read this Green Eggs and Ham book to me almost every night. And she would always do that for me because she knew I loved stories. So whenever I wanted to hear a story, she would make up a story, she would read a story. I had all the Dr. Seuss books. So that was my favorite. I just like the concept of Green Eggs and Ham. Like, that don't even make sense. I'd be like, Mommy, read that. Because I didn't understand the concept, why that's even difficult to understand, that you're not going to eat green eggs and ham. Ham green is spoiled. If your eggs are green, they're probably not eggs, and if they are, ew, why would you eat this? But for some reason, they made a whole story with someone trying to convince someone to give them something that they believe in their whole heart is not good for them. On a boat, in a yacht, on a car, with a rock, You wouldn't eat them on a boat. You wouldn't eat them with a goat. You wouldn't eat them on the stairs. You wouldn't take it out the air. Like, you wouldn't do something, but someone studied trying to convince you. Their consistency. And that consistency pays off. And not only does it pay off, the person that was so reluctant because they didn't believe that green eggs and ham, why would I like this? But you convinced them with your consistency. You convinced them with your consistency. So now, not only do you convince them, they tried and they love the shit. We've been arguing this whole time and you love green eggs and ham. So this was my favorite story. And because my mama read it to me so many times, so many days, and sometimes she would read it multiple times. If I asked her, Mommy, one more time. Mommy, please, one more time, green eggs and ham. That just from all them times, I'm sitting in this class with this teacher, mad that I almost get her fired. I almost became the teacher of that preschool class. They needed me. I could have taught. And I just sat there and read this book cover to cover without a single mistake. She was in shock. She was in pure shock. My mama so damn silly because she knows me. I get all this shit from my mama. My mama is crazy than a motherfucker. Oh, my mama. Oh, Eminem Plain. That's my mama's name. And if you ask her again, she'll tell you the same. You can think I'm trying to rhyme? I swear to you. That's how my mama told me that's her name. And people will walk up to my mama, Eminem Plain. She say, ask me again, I tell you the same. You couldn't say one without the other. Boy, black people in the 80s were different. Because they were trying to survive in a time that had to be tough. You coming up, you're poor, you're trying to live, you have these kids you love, you're trying to figure out, man, how do I make it through the day taking care of two kids where both of their fathers were gone and their girls? Then I have a boy 9 years after my first child. And this is the third man, and now I'm trying to make it work with him. And trying to figure this shit out, and we're still struggling in the same place that we're in. They're trying to figure out how to survive in a tough time. And in that struggle, they make up things like nicknames and sayings. And it's a dude out west, he walks around with a 2x4 on top of his head. Like, that's his shit. Like, everybody out west in Chicago, you know about this guy. Like, he walks around just with a 2x4 on his head and it don't fall. He just be walking, balancing that motherfucker. That's his thing. So when times are tough like that, because you got to remember, this is a time where you're in the 80s, you're what they consider black. Segregation wasn't that long ago. Segregation wasn't that long ago. Redlining. There's a lot of things that you could say. That's a tough environment to have to come up in and for you to have to deal with it. And as a woman, and then you have two young women, that's a struggle in its own. Then you got to try to raise a young man to be a man, unlike the men he sees. That's a tough task to take, especially when you have this much love you want to give to him, that to the point where I'm in my 30s. My mother still says, "Mommy Nub," when she calls me. It's something that you want. You create this image of this love that you always wanted, and you try to give it the best you know how without any experience of it. It's just this thing you romanticize of what it could be like because you want it so bad. And like I tell people, you usually want something you don't have because you have something you don't want, or you no longer want. That's why I tell people, you gotta always get the satisfaction. But it's hard to really get the satisfaction as a parent when it's just you now. And you have to take care of these 3 children, and your youngest is a boy. And you want to love him into not being just like his surroundings, the only thing he sees. And the few things he asks for, because he's a product of you. The same way you crave that love, he craves that love. He does a podcast. He creates stand-up. He tries to talk to people and help other people. That's the thing that drives him, because he's of you. So your way of showing that love to him is like, you mommy nub, and all you really want is some stories, and I'm just going, I love stories, mommy. Tell me the green eggs and ham. It's not much. But you know how many parents may say, no, I'm busy. I have to go to work. I'm tired. I can't do that. I'm too busy to read this green eggs and ham with you. Let the babysitter do it. Let the nanny do it. Let someone else do it. But when you're that young, that's all you really crave is this attention from something that you're of. You're part of its creation. You were created through it. Its existence, their existence is a small part of yours. And you get to watch a small part of your existence that you created. You came together with your reflection and did the same thing your creator did to you. Created life. You created conscious. That kid never existed if you and that reflection never came together and pushed it out. And if you understand that, or if you don't even understand it, you just feel something that makes you feel like that's so valuable. Every time he says read green eggs and ham, I'm going to read it with a smile on my face and we're going to have fun. And I'm going to perform it for him every time. And I'm going to try to make sure I get that performance right every time. Get it right so many times that I remember the performance. And now I can act out the perception I have. What I was actually shown, I can act it out. I watched it so many times. You ever watch the movie, you go, man, I know every line of that movie. You enjoyed that performance so well that you remembered every line. And I'm 5 years old. This is my first day of school with my teacher. Go ahead, fuck up and try to read this story so I can start reading Story Time with Q. We'll see. We did, without a single mistake, because a performance given to me by the thing I'm a part of. I'm a small part of its creation. I was created through them. Yeah, so it's more important than you ever really think about. But you're of it. And for you to be of that creation, just naturally, you just seem like you crave its attention. No matter what the attention is, you crave it. And at that young age, when you go through that, if you're a small piece of that parent probably can see you in ways you can't see yourself, because they know who they were at that point, at that time they gave it to you, and what you may naturally be is of that reflection. But the nurture that they're going to give you is going to mean something. But nobody was given a handbook. Nobody was told, like, this is how you got to do the parent the right thing. It's just got to come from inside, I guess. And if it comes from inside and you see how important that story is to that little boy, to the point that he enjoys the performance. You didn't just tell it to him, you performed it. And he appreciated it, clearly, without even understanding how deep it was, what was going on. Just in that moment, if she hadn't did that performance, I would have never treated that goddamn teacher who thought I was going to read that green eggs and ham from cover to cover 5, first day of school. I'm here. So, I'm 5 years old and I'm in a crack house because I could have been in preschool, but I wasn't in that. I was in the real school. I was like in the, preschool and some other shit. So they was like, oh, he might be a genius. The teacher was like, I think he a genius. My mama ass over there looking like, I know him. I know him. I know him in places he don't even know himself. His ass not a genius. His ass just remembered my motherfucking performance, and now his ass up here acting it out. Look at him. And they was like, we think he might be a genius. They tried to put me in first grade. They tried to put me in first grade. My mom was like, no, I think just one up would be cool. She know I got reading problems. My mama know I got reading problems. I write poetry, I rap. I can say words I can't spell. Just being real, I can say words for sure. If they put a gun to my head, spell, oh shit. If he started with spell, the first thing I'm thinking about is how can I disarm this motherfucker? Because if I gotta spell it, he might as well pull the trigger now. But if he asked me to say that shit phonetically, I got him. So my mama said, no, we'll let his little genius ass, his ass up there acting and y'all ass fell for it. My mama knew I was on bullshit. We connected. She understand everything I was experiencing before I got to the point where I could tell y'all how deep my experiences is. She knew it. Because I'm of her. So all that shit that she knew is the shit that I experienced and just bring it in a new form. I guess you can call it evolution. Because every time I create a thought, I create something else. Whether it's the podcast, there's power in the question, information is information. Or me getting up and just doing this shit right here. But imagine all that responsibility you feel. And you feel and believe you're not doing a good job. Maybe you feel that this kid you love so much, they deserve to be able to eat every day. This kid you love so much, they deserve to not worry about if they're going to have more than 2 outfits for the entire year. This kid you love so much shouldn't have to walk outside seeing kids killing other kids, young men, and that's what I have to raise you to be, a young man and not be one of them. Yet this is all you see. Maybe you feel like you failed. Maybe you feel like if only you were better, if it's some mistake you made in the yesterday. But all we have is today. If anybody know how to get out of today, tell me. Like, if you know how to get out of today and go to yesterday or tomorrow, tell me, because I won't go with you. I'm going to go to yesterday first. I won't win the lottery. Then I'm going to go tomorrow and see what the fuck happened. Then I'm going to come back to today and live it. That shit sound cool, right? But I don't know if we have that existence available to us. So from my understanding, the way I look at it is, we only have today. But you can get caught up in yesterdays and be like, man, I fucked up yesterday. I swear to God, I dropped him on his head. Jesus, please. I love this little motherfucker. He was almost gone, Jesus. I dropped. You know my niece got a motherfucker hot boiling water. She grabbed the handle and it fell on her. She almost died. Y'all don't know, like, kids, we're survivors. They can love us all they can. It don't mean they ain't gonna make mistakes. But every time they make what they consider to be a mistake, they can learn from it. Just like if you touch that fire, you put your hand out there, motherfucker. You learn it from doing instead of learning from listening. So, I'm 5 years old and I'm in crack house. And it's getting so late while we're in there. So, oh yeah, I get it. Your parents, they feel like, oh, they deserve more. This shit tough. So anyway, I'm 5 years old and I'm in the crack house. And it's just me and the kid who mama was clearly doing better than we were, house with the cracks. So I'm thinking she probably run the cracks, but maybe my mom was trying to stunt. Maybe my mom was like, bitch, I can bring all the cracks. Bitch, you ain't never had a crack party like this. Like, you don't know. So it's getting late. We getting sleepy. And I'm on the motherfucking little horsey thing. I'm getting it because they doing good. So I'm on the horse thing. I'm getting it. Oh, shit. You gotta get it with your shoulders. You gotta get it with your shoulders. So I'm getting with my shoulders. And I look like the other little kid that was in there. I don't know why we're in this room alone. I feel like somebody should be watching their kids. Like, don't blame me. Go watch your kids. Because wasn't nobody watching me. So we back there. And then the little, you know how you get the little grind on the little horsey thing? And I'm 5 years old, so I don't know how to control all my body yet. So that thing started, getting a little tough. I was like, this starting to feel good. Then I started realizing, like, something magnetically made me say, oh, I like girls. I swear to God, I like girls. Looking at you looking good. Now, man, hey, don't get mad at me. This is what I was thinking about. I was 5. I'm not saying that now. I'm telling you what I was experiencing when I was 5. Don't write no letters. Don't send no tweets. None of that shit. This is what happened then. Goddamn it, time travel. So anyway, So I'm feeling something that I ain't never felt before. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. It's my shorts swelling up. I don't know. I know she looked good. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it though. But I just know. I just want to do something. I know it involved this. Because this activated. So let's get active, little mama. And this is what I learned coming up as a kid. All the girls are freaks. I want you to know that all girls are the freaks. They've been the creeps. I'm putting it out there. Remember, you heard it from me. All girls are creeps. Every guy, I want you to think back. Think back to that time, the first time you got your little freaky action. Not when you thought about it, because we always thought about it. But think about the first time you got you some action. Did you get it because you made it happen? Or did she make an implication and let you do it? I promise you, first time I ever had some freaky stuff, I knew something was going on, and she knew exactly what the fuck was going on with me, and she took advantage of me. I want you to know this. Look, I'm not saying I'm a victim. I'm saying I'm a survivor. Anyway, so as I'm going through it, I don't understand. Like, I know something down there want to do something, and you look, I don't get it. She come over there and say, sit down right here. Like, what? I'm 5. I think she was 5. I don't know her age. We had a crack house. I just met her. I don't know her. We was kids playing, and now just us two, and it's like midnight or something, because they still having their crack party. So she had me sit down and just sit next to me. And I know this shit is weird, because I'm like, we been playing all day. Why don't you have me sit down and sit next to you? And I know you see my little pants poking up, my little 2-inch killer. I was ready. I didn't know what I was ready for, but I was ready. She had me sit down, and like she started like touching on, like doing this, but she wasn't touching me. She was like she about to touch, like she kept doing stuff like, oh, look what I almost touched, stuff. And you know me, I'm an innocent little boy. I just like Dr. Seuss. You understand me? This is the first time I'm experiencing this. So she just doing stuff, but I know this is weird. I'm not stupid. I'm 5, but I'm not stupid. I'm good with my perception. So she just doing weird stuff, like she like just always by my bathing suit region as a 5-year-old. You see what I'm saying? She just doing stuff. Long story short, she sucked my dick. Look. I can't tell you how she knew to do this. I can't tell you how she knew to do this. This was my first time ever experiencing this. And I'm going, this is for me. This right here, I said, if I have to spend the rest of my life fighting for this, I'd die going for it. I'd kill for it. I knew I wanted it. I didn't even know that was the best thing. I found that out years later. So the reason I'm telling you all this, I'm 5 years old. I'm in a crack house. I got my dick sucked by the host's daughter. That's what happened. She hosts the crack party, and I know the smell. I know the smell of crack burning. I know when it simmers, if you will, like when it's about time to go. I know that smell when it's about time to go. But I was 5 years old, and my first day of school, I was able to convince an entire classroom that I was a genius who can read on his first day of preschool. And she called it Story Time with Q. Being funny, because she was trying to embarrass me. She called, because she just didn't believe in it. So whether she believed in me or not didn't matter. What I chose to do was up to me. Now, I pointed this out on one of my podcast episodes, That's Power in the Questions, Information is Information, where I say the difference between evil and devil is D. Like if you remove the D, devil becomes evil. Now if you got good and you take one of the O's, it becomes God. So what you choose to do is up to you. It's a look, I can't make up my own, what did they call it? Conspiracy theory. That's what they call it. I'm just making up one. So anyway, so whether she believed in me, the teacher, whether she believed in me it didn't matter because I had a choice to make, what I choose to do. I had to bring forth creation. I had to think about it, experience it. I understood it clearly because I had this gift of perception. I could pick up on patterns. But she called it story time with Q as if though it was going to be something that was going to be my failure. And if I succumbed to what I believed I was understanding with my perception, like, oh, she's trying to embarrass me, she think I'm gonna mess up, and I chose I'm gonna prove her wrong. And story time with Q became a success. And I was 5 years old when that happened. Almost 30 years ago. And I come up with a podcast. And the thing I choose to tell my stories with are story times with Q. I put my experiences, I put my pain, I put everything I've been through, some of the harshest moments I could have ever experienced. But I use them story times to tell mine and hope that I can captivate you. Like I did those kids, all in preschool. So, everything you go through in life is your journey. You can never sit there and say, if I knew what was going to happen, how to make it. You don't know. It's whatever choices you choose to make. What you choose to do is up to you, even if you choose to do nothing. That's all on you. Whatever you choose, it's going to happen today. That's the only place you exist. And there's nothing you do with your actions that you didn't think about first consciously. Your thoughts came out of nothingness, like a big bang. There was nothing there, then you thought. Then you chose to decide on one of those ideas, one of those beliefs that you choose to believe in, and you act off of it. Whether you choose to believe in yourself, that you can read this book and perform and captivate everybody's attention, or if you believe in what somebody told you just because they have a title, or they told you, this is your teacher. Didn't know if she had anything she could teach me or not. But I could have believed in her, failed, didn't perform, or probably didn't even do anything. I probably could have just put the book down and shied away. But because I chose to do all that, I brought forth creation. Now that time that my mama spent with me, and you hear the people saying like, put that boy in school, he supposed to be in school. But she didn't want to. She didn't want to relinquish just yet because of a feeling she had. This idea of love she wanted to give that she never experienced, and she romanticized that concept and tries to give it, and then even feels like a failure. Because whatever you choose, whatever place or depth of yourself that you choose to give yourself to somebody, that's the same place you're going. But at every option, you still have a choice of fear or faith. Believe in yourself or believe in something outside of you. But what you choose to do is up to you. So you have all the power. So whether you believe in a God or you don't believe in a God, whatever is of creation, you're of it because you're a part of it. So as you grow, you're doing nothing but becoming the same God that can do the same thing that God did to you. Bring forth creation. Because then you get old enough, you can meet your reflection and bring forth creation and have a child. And try to do your best idea of what you think is parenting. But sometimes it's tough for people. So you know how if you gave yourself there and you got hit there, but you felt like a failure, sometimes your kid 5 years old and you're in a crack house. But either thing you do is, what you choose to do is up to you. And whatever happened yesterday, you can't do anything about it. All you have is today, and we don't know tomorrow. So, if you don't understand that all creation exists only because you brung it to creation, it doesn't mean you're the one God. You're the one above all that created all of us. No. We're like blood cells in the body of Christ or Buddha or whoever you choose to believe. I don't give a damn. We're of creation. So when I say you are a God, you have to be, because you're a small version of the Creator that created you. So don't let your past bully your present into becoming your future. Because what they call pure is tampered with. The cure can't answer it. You're lost in the world looking for answers that's answerless. And I hope you laugh. Look, man, this show finna change, y'all. Spoon fed long enough, now it's game on. Flame on, Johnny Storm with this napalm. Stay calm, yeah, strong, but it ain't on. Excuse me? But there's power in the question. You'll see that the power's in your essence. Confuse me? But I found it impressive. I constantly responded and found a reflection. It's also reflective. Now tell me what is info. Disregard, you don't know what your info. Start saying you a god playing limbo. That shit had you at odds with your kinfolk. You telling me kicking God cause I'm in rote. Forgive me, but it's hard to compress all his knowledge of self and astonishing in post. To invoke, I'm a god that's within quotes. I've been dope and my conscience a big hope. Accuse me if you think that I'm wrong when I speak with my balls, but it's his show.